What's up, everybody? So I want you guys to understand there's a strategy to what Republicans and racists in this country have done forever. Divide and conquer. Now, they've used our terms, black terms, like woke, to start a war against race, against black people. But what they've allowed people to do is to implement woke in a racist way and then allow you to take it on your own, because it looks like it's just people who think a way that I don't think. People who are more liberal than I think. But it really means people who are black or black thinking, not like white thinking. If you haven't noticed, the majority of black people are Democrats, not because it is like the best thing on earth. It is the only party that actually thinks about anybody other than white men. Let me tell you again, it is the only party that thinks about anything other than white men. And that right there is a problem. You've seen the power of racist white men take away women's rights. You've seen them in certain states say that a 14, 12, 13, 14-year-old girl who's able to get pregnant, they call them ripe and fertile. These men are destroying this country and doing exactly what the very first people came here and did: colonize. They're colonizing our terms, black terms, like woke. If you don't know where that came from, it came from Leadbelly, an artist from back in the day, like 30s and 40s, was to warn black people of racist white people and what they were doing back in those days, Jim Crow. But they've taken it to do something other. See, a lot of people may think this is just me talking. No, I do research. Do you know Lee Atwater? Well, in 1981, he got caught on a microphone thinking that it wasn't going to be something that was going to be sent out. And at the time, it wasn't. But it was released later. I want you to hear it, and then we'll come back and explain everything I said, and you'll find out that woke equals the N-word.
Here's how I would approach that issue as a statistician or a political scientist, or no, as a psychologist, which I'm not, is how abstract you handle the race thing. In other words, you start out, and now y'all aren't quoting me on this. You start out in 1954 by saying never, never, never. By 1968, you can't say never. That hurts your backfire, so you say stuff like forced busing, states' rights, and all that stuff. And you're getting so abstract now, you're talking about cutting taxes and all of these things you're talking about are totally economic things, and the byproduct of them is blacks get hurt worse than whites. And subconsciously, maybe that is part of it. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that if it is getting that abstract and that coded, that we're doing away with the racial problem one way or the other. You follow me? Because obviously sitting around saying we want to cut taxes, we want to cut this, and we want is much more abstract than even the busing thing, and a hell of a lot more abstract than never, you know. So any way you look at it, race is coming on the back burner.
You see how Lee Atwater just explained that they used to use, back in the 50s and so forth, N-word, 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 to get people to vote against, the Democrats. And then after that, in the 60s or so, it didn't work. It would get people against you. So then they had to become more abstract. That's when they went to forced busing. That's when they went to states' rights. Again, because they used that exact states' rights during Civil War. They did it again later on in the 60s and 70s and so forth, right? And then they had to get more and more abstract to say the N-word. This man, Lee Atwater, in 1981, helped Reagan. And guess who Lee Atwater's protege was? The person he taught everything he knew, Roger Stone. And who is Roger Stone's like right-hand man in politics? Donald Trump. And you think he's not using the strategy about politics when Donald Trump knows nothing about politics, and his right-hand man that knew everything about politics and how to work things is Roger Stone. He's the man behind Stop the Steal and all the other crooked things that Donald Trump has done politically. So, why not use the same strategies that he was taught how to use? Donald Trump, Roger Stone, Republicans, and MAGA, they used the word to say the N-word, to get people whom they know what the word means, but a lot of other people, liberals and Democrats and different races, are using it for different reasons. They may not know they're saying the N-word, but you are. And what they've done is buried it into a term that was focused on black people saving themselves and others around them that were black from white people. And now they've taken our beloved term to protect us, to attack us. And you guys are helping them do it. Even though you don't want to, you're helping them do it. The power in that word is allowing them to do everything they're doing to Latin people, to people of color, to women of all races. You've gotten people who said that they weren't racist using the word woke term as if it's supposed to mean something totally different. Bill Maher uses it, whom we thought was for black people, not really. Other people use it. Black people even use it in the wrong way. They know what it is, but many of them will still apply it just the way these racists apply it. And now they have this terminology in the lexicon where people are saying it over and over again, validating racist white people and allowing people all around the United States to attack Latin people, to attack others in the name of white power. See, white men who are racist are back on top again, just the way they wanted it. And by using that term, you place them in power again. I just want you to know the power of words and how they got you and many others saying it and not realizing you're saying the N-word. Don't take my word for it. Take the strategist that taught them how to do it, Lee Atwater.
You start out in 1954 by saying never, never, never. By 1968, you can't say never. That hurts you, backfire. So you say stuff like forced busing, states' rights, and all that stuff. And you're getting so abstract now, you're talking about cutting taxes and all of these things you're talking about are totally economic things, and the byproduct of them is blacks get hurt worse than whites.